some of my notes from the last time he came, and there were 10 points. So one thing I would love is, I kind of like that Project Runway approach, you know, where you take the topic, Avi,
Yes.
and you just give us, fire away at some bullets, and then maybe we could go deeper, as you feel led, after maybe giving us some high points. And I actually have the notes from the last time you were here, because, you know, Scott was asking you about Trump. Trump was not on your list. And so I think it'd be great if we start with your list, and Iran was at the top of your list.
Right.
And so why don't we, I just would love for you to take a bunch of topics and lay it on us.
How many hours do I have?
We have 1 hour.
1 hour. I can give you maybe one subject out of the 5.
To be continued.
Yeah, actually, for those of you who heard me on Friday afternoon, early evening, at Victoria Servati's, and said, someone came up to me and said, you know, don't say the same things again. I said, I never say the same things. I'm always saying new things, which I forgot to say Friday night, so. Okay.
Bobby, can you give a thumbnail autobiographical sketch in
That's
about
1
3
hour.
minutes?
That's 1 hour.
Just where you were born, and just kind of bring us up to your fine 77 years.
Yeah, that's 2 hours. Well, I'm an American-born Jew. My mother tongue is Spanish, Argentine Spanish, and hooray for Argentina in soccer today.
Yes.
And because they won 2-0. And my grandparents were from Russia, Poland. They emigrated to Argentina. My parents grew up there, spoke Spanish, came to New York. I was born in New York, American citizen. Spanish is my mother tongue. Then I moved to Israel at age 19, which was like 68 years ago, or 58 years ago. Yeah, 58 years ago. Met my wife Rachel, she's from Egypt. I also speak Arabic. Studied Russian, don't speak it so well. Studied Greek. My mom and dad wanted to be a medical doctor. I said, I don't want to be a doctor. That's the one thing I don't want to be. And I failed in biology, and I failed in mathematics, and I failed in everything except languages. Languages, I always got 10 in history. I'm an historian. I love history. I love all the nations. I don't hate anyone. Even the Muslims. I don't hate the Muslims. They're good people, but the system is a bad system. And so, and my wife is from Egypt, and this is a very important story. I met her for the first time on a bus, and it was hate at first sight. She was with a group of Argentine communists who were on the bus, and they were making fun of my mother in Argentine Spanish. And of course I understood every word. So I turned around and my eyes fell on poor Rachel, and I let her have it. She said, I'm not from Argentina. I know these are from Argentina and they speak Spanish, but I don't speak Spanish. I said, oh really, where are you from? Egypt. I said, wow, am I an idiot? I'm yelling at the wrong person. And so, can I interview you for the University of Jerusalem newspaper? I said, yes. So I carried her bags and we got married. that was like being hit by lightning on a clear blue sky day. And, but I've written 7 books, they're on the table. I want to say I've written 9 books, but my 2 books are stuck in the bureaucracy of the printer here in Dallas, so it's going to take me a few more days to get books 8 and 9 out.
What are their titles?
Book 8 is Israel Bible Block, revised and expanded edition, because it's 20th anniversary of my first printing of Bible Block, which is a thinner book. 6 years ago, the party was recognized by the government in Israel. We've run in 5 elections, and we're getting ready for the October election. So, see, what I'm trying to do is get the new book out, get it translated into Russian and Hebrew, and I'm going to be doing every week, as soon as I get back, Zooms in Hebrew and Zooms in English, and because we have no money, our party has, you know, we're not a rich party, but the future of politics is in internet. And so I have a whole bunch of Messianic people who are working with me, and we're going to get the message out. 5 elections, we've gotten 400 votes per election, which is nice because they're all friends, but we need 150,000 votes to pass the threshold and get the first 4 candidates in. So I'm hoping 150,000 votes, there are 400,000 Russian speakers in Israel who are not Jewish. So my aim will be to reach out to these Russians. If we can get 150,000 out of 400,000, we're in.
Wow.
The Messianics, I don't know how many there are. Some say 10,000, some say 20,000. There is also a very sweet Ethiopian lady who was supposed to be on my list, and she decided, I mean, I take my kippah, my hat off to her. She's with the Reservist Party. So actually now there is another party that has a Christian believer. It's the Army Reservist Party. I just don't know what number she is on the list. So if she does not get into the Knesset, she says she's coming back to me, to my party. She can get me 30,000 votes. So if you have 10,000 Messianics and 30,000 Ethiopian Christians, I need 100,000 Russians. So it's getting closer. And if my book comes out in Russian, I think for the next elections, we have a much better chance of getting the Russians to vote for us.
What is the title of the second one?
Second book is called Lepanto 2, Turkey and the Armageddon. It's the Battle of Armageddon that's coming. Turkey and Egypt are about to attack Israel. They're just waiting for Israel to show signs of weakness, exhaustion. We are exhausted. By the way, I'll talk about Trump as we go along, but just as Israel made peace with Egypt, and we had to return all of Sinai, but the peace with Egypt allowed the Israeli population to grow from 3 million to 5 million. Then when the Soviet Union collapsed, we got another 2.5 million. So today we have like 8 million Jews and Christians. Christians and Messianics are 6% of the population in Israel. 6% means there should be 6-7 members of Knesset who are Christian, and there's not one.
That's the Bible law.
So this is something that I'm working on, and I am predicting a Holocaust in America. I'm predicting that 10 million Jews and Christians will be moving to Israel, and the Bible Bloc Party will be the biggest party in the Knesset. And if my wife doesn't kill me by then, I'll be the prime minister. No, because we have 8 million Jews and Christians, 2 million Muslims, and then if all of a sudden there's 8 million or 10 million Jews and Christians move to Israel, it completely alters the ethnic balance of the country, which I think will be good, because half our population comes from former Soviet socialist countries, they're not democratic, and half our population comes from Islamic countries. My wife is one of them.
Avi, why are you predicting a American Holocaust?
That's another hour.
Okay, so, I think it helps to.
No, I'll explain it very simply. It was President Truman or President Eisenhower who described America as a Judeo-Christian country.
Yes.
And it was President Obama in January of 2009 who said that America today is a Christian Muslim, Jewish Hindu country. So this is no longer a Judeo-Christian country, it is a Christian Muslim country. Obama said it, if you look at his inaugural speech. The reason I say it'll take an hour to explain it is because in 1970, there were 100,000 Muslims in America. 100,000. Today there are 30 million. And they all came in legally. And the gatekeepers in America are all bribed. And money talks. The 30 million want Islam. They want Sharia law. I don't say the 30 million want to kill all the Jews in America, but I would say maybe 10% are terrorists. 10% is 3 million, and they're armed, and they are ready to kill the Jews in America.
Yes.
Then about 5-6 years ago, after the death of George Floyd, I had a meeting with a neo-Nazi. I had lunch with a neo-Nazi. I didn't know he was a neo-Nazi, I just knew he was a militia leader. And I work with the militias, I work with the Tea Parties, I work with the Republican Party. Of course, Democrats don't want to hear anything I have to say. We had a very nice lunch. He was very intelligent, very friendly. I didn't know he was a neo-Nazi. And he said to me, "What do you think about the death of George Floyd?" And I said, "Well, George Floyd was a sick man. He was taking drugs. He should have been in the hospital, not with a policeman pressing on his neck with a knee." Then he said, "What do you think about defund the police?" I said, "Well, I think that's horrible, because if you defund the police, there will be chaos and murder and crime." And he said, he went like this with his head. I said, "Why are you saying no?" He said, "Because before the death of George Floyd, there were 3 million militia members. Today, after the death of George Floyd, there are 30 million militia members." Now, I would say 90% are just good Christian Americans, but I think 10% could feasibly be neo-Nazi. So, out of 30 million Muslims, 3 million are terrorists. Out of the militias, 3 million are terrorists. That's 6 million. How many Jews do you have? 6 million. There are other groups also that want to kill the Jews. By the way, I love black people. I've spoken in many black churches. But there's a group called Black Lives Matter. And the Black Lives Matter, they were founded by Islam. And the Black Lives Matter say that the Jews, now listen carefully, because this is really crazy stuff I'm saying. The Jews support abortion. Who's getting aborted? Black babies. So the Jews are guilty of genocide against black people in America. That's what Black Lives Matter says. Another thing, they are saying that the Jews are slumlords. So for that reason, Black Lives Matter, the Nation of Islam, these people, they all want to kill the Jews. And then there's a group called Antifa, which is a communist anarchist group. They want to kill the Jews. They'll kill the Christians too. One bullet in the head of President Trump, there's going to be a civil war in this country. If China attacks Taiwan, who's to blame? The Jews. If there's a crash on Wall Street, who's to blame? The Jews. Everything bad that could possibly happen, God forbid, the Jews are to blame. And I'll tell you something, I'm a Sovietologist. I know the history of Russia, the Communist Revolution, Bolshevism, and at the heart of communism is an ideology called solidarity of all the nations. In other words, when I was in Moscow, and I did an interview in Russian with Radio Aleph in Russian, and I said to my interviewer that Russia, America, Europe, and Israel should work together to defeat Islam. He said, "No, we go by the communist ideology of solidarity of all the nations." And I said to him, "That's completely wrong. You Russians have been fighting the Turks for 1,000 years, if you know the history of Russia. 1,000 years. And it's not over. The Turks are coming after you, the Islamic population." Now this is interesting. The Soviet population was 350 million. 200 million were Muslim. So when the communist Soviet Union collapsed, all of a sudden they dislodged 200 million Muslims to create the stands, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan. And what remained in Russia was Christian Russian Orthodox. And so Russia became a Christian Orthodox country. Still about 17% of today's Russia is Muslim. The Russians do business with the Muslims just as the United States does business with the Muslims. And the Muslims own everything, and the Muslims control everything in this country. And the Jewish people were so persecuted 100, 120 years ago in Russia, believe in the solidarity of all the nations. Which means, as the communists used to say, the Jews are universalists. The Jews are cosmopolitan. They are not Russian. The same applies to America. The Jews in America are not American. They are universalists and cosmopolitan. That's why they vote Democrat. And by doing that, the people I work with, who are the Christians, who are the nationalist Christians, patriotic Christians, look at the Jews as Bolshevik traitors. And there are a lot of people on the right hand, and I'm not judging them, they want to kill all the Jews. And the Jews brought it upon themselves. And even Israel is controlled by Soviet socialists. So the writing is on the wall. Something is going to happen in America. I don't know if it's a war between China and the West, or if it's Trump, or if it's Wall Street collapsing for some reason, the destruction of the dollar. All these things are the guilt of the Jews, according to the right-wing Christians. So there's going to be a Holocaust. On the other hand, and I know that Sharon Sanders is an Israeli, you know everything I'm saying. I don't make these things up. Israel is still controlled by Soviet socialists. And why am I 35 years coming to Christian churches in America and worldwide? Because I cannot get a job in Israel because I was fired from the Prime Minister's office in 1990, and they said, we know your political views, that you are Likud, you're fired. And you know, of course, Jan Willem van der Hoven, who I love very much, and I'm sorry that his wife passed. Jan Willem van der Hoven said to me that Netanyahu wants to put me in a secure slot in the Likud election campaign. Because I was always Likud. But what happened was I had a meeting with two of Netanyahu's top advisors, and they said to me, give us all your Christian contacts. I said, okay, no problem. I just have one question. How many Christian believers are there in the Likud running for the Knesset? 0. Because the Likud base does not want to hear the word Christian. The rabbis don't want to hear the word Christian. And so I decided I had to create a Judeo-Christian love party. And it's about time, after 2,000 years, that we cut out this hatred.
Amen.
And I go to synagogue on Shabbat. Actually, I don't even go to synagogue anymore. Because where I live, it's only Sephardic, and the Sephardic are vehement against Christians.
Yeah.
And every time I say, well, you know, this teaching of this rabbi or that is similar to the teaching in the New Testament, chas v'chalila, you know, God forbid, don't mention it. I said, well, Jesus said, chas v'chalila, don't mention that name. So I'm living in a country, I'm very happy to live in Israel. I would never leave Israel. I might be killed by the rabbis. I don't think I'll be killed by the Muslims, because I was always worried that Muslims would kill me. I think that there are enough crazy or ultra-Orthodox Jews that if the rabbi says, take this guy out, they don't mind going to jail. They'll be pardoned. So there's going to be a Holocaust, and there is a member of Knesset. I think he's a rabbi, but I'm not sure. Do you know? Have you heard the name Avi Maoz?
Maoz.
Maoz.
Yes.
I think heard, but don't know him.
So I will tell you what his big deal is. On the one hand, he's working for sovereignty of Israel over all the territories, which actually I support. But the other thing which rankles me, you know, Adolf Hitler had an ideology that if you had one Jewish grandparent, you go to the gas chambers. So Ben Gurion, the first leader of Israel, said anyone who's good enough to go to the gas chambers is allowed to move to Israel. It's called the law of return. So you have Christians who are 3/4 Christian, or they go to church, or they're Messianic or whatever, and they serve in the army, they pay taxes, they vote, they're in Israel. So he came out now, and he's been pushing. Thank God there are a lot of members of Knesset who disagree with him. He wants to change the law of return. And instead of one Jewish grandparent, you have to be the son of a Jewish mother. That's all. Son or daughter of a Jewish mother. So what does that mean? It means we have in America 6 million Jews. About 1 million or 1.5 million are Reform. And so he says, we don't want Reform Jews. 1 million are conservative Jews. I'm a conservative Jew. I'm not Orthodox, even though I have a kippah on my head. We don't want conservative Jews. We don't want unaffiliated Jews, which is about half the Jews in America. No synagogue. Totally assimilated in American culture. And here comes the crazy part. We have 80% intermarriage with Christians in America. You know, we hate the Christians till we marry them. Now, if a Holocaust breaks out in America, and all of a sudden a Jew is about to be murdered, and that Jew is married to a Christian spouse, is that Jew going to leave the Christian spouse here in America and the children? They all have to come to Israel. But Avi Mao says, we don't want the Christians. The rabbis say, we don't want the Christians. My prediction is that there are 10 million potential Olim, 10 million. 6 million are Jews, 4 million are Christian or not Jewish. We need them. The Israeli population is saying, oh, 70,000 ultra-Orthodox don't serve in the army. You go to the coffee shops in Tel Aviv, there are 100,000 young Israelis who are communist socialists, go to the coffee shops, they don't serve in the army. We need the Anglo-Saxon Jews and the Anglo-Saxon Christians. And when I say Anglo-Saxon, I include black people and Chinese, and whoever the Jew marries has to bring the husband or wife and children to Israel. So Israel's population will double. We will have soldiers. And in my 2 new books, I talk about the borders of Israel going from the Nile to the Euphrates and from Lebanon to Mecca, Saudi Arabia. I don't know, maybe because either I'm not known or because the rabbis, remember Gamliel? They asked Gamliel, what do we do with this Jesus? He said, well, if he's the real deal, we shouldn't touch him. And if he isn't the real deal, he'll fall aside by the wayside. I think that's how they are behaving with me. But if, God willing, I get into the Knesset with the first 4 members of Knesset, there is the potential for me to become a minister in the Israeli government. So I don't know where this is all going, but what I do know is that the hatred has to stop. And many, many Jewish people in Israel are beginning to understand that the Christians are not our best friends, the Christians are our only friends. And I've done a whole ideology on this. You have 2 billion Christians, 1.2 are Catholic, they follow the Pope, and he's anti-Israel. Whoever the Pope is, it's going to be anti-Israel. Then you have 300 million Russian Orthodox, Greek Orthodox, Serbian Orthodox, and they still say that the Jews killed Christ. I mean, even the Catholics got rid of that. And then we're left with 500 million Protestants, amongst whom you have Lutheran and Anglican, and they're anti-Semitic. And so you have basically 200 million evangelicals who are Baptists and born-agains. 100 million are not pro-Israel. 100 million out of 2 billion, that's 5%. So I'm working with the 5%. In other words, I don't reach 95%. I reach 5% in the best case scenario. But the point is, when the trouble begins, and it's going to be very sudden, and all of a sudden the Jews and their Christian spouses must leave immediately for Israel. And so your job here, as if you are a Christian, is to help the Jews to come home.
Do you have room for all those people?
Did you see the map of Israel recently? We have South Lebanon, South Syria, Gaza is now 70% in our hands. Hamas has 30%. You know why we don't finish off the Hamas in Gaza? Because then Trump will say, give me Gaza and I'll turn it into a Singapore or Riviera or something.
Resort.
A resort. So Israel saying, leave the Hamas. As long as the Hamas, at least some of the Hamas remains, it'll always remain a sewer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There will be no room for Western entrepreneurs
Yeah.
like Witkoff and
Kushner.
Kushner come in and build these marvelous dream towns in Gaza, because the Arabs will destroy everything. One of the central parts of my ideology is that Allah, the God of Islam, is Satan. Allah is not the God of the Jews and the Christians. Allah is Satan. Allah wants to kill the Jews on Saturday because we're the Saturday people, kill the Christians on Sunday because the Christians are the Sunday people. By the way, the Jews and the Christians are one people. In Arabic, we are called Ahl al-Kitab. We are the people of the Bible.
Yes.
And the only difference is Jews are the Saturday people, Christians are the Sunday people. So we will kill the Jews on Saturday, kill the Christians on Sunday. They're going to kill the Hindus, the Buddhists, because they're pagans. They're going to kill the blacks. And then after they're finished, after 1/6 of the human race kills off 5/6 of the human race, then the 1/6 that remains, which is Islamic, they all kill each other. Shiites kill the Sunnis, Sunnis kill the Shiites, Sunnis kill the Sunnis, Shiites kill the Shiites. When the Muslims pray, say, Allahu Akbar, forgive me. Allahu Akbar means Allah is greater. Now, who said he was greater? Satan. Isn't Satan known for saying he's greater than God?
Yeah.
That's Allah. One of the definitions of Allah in Arabic is al-makr. Al-makr in Arabic means Allah is the greatest of the liars and the deceivers. Isn't that Satan?
That's right.
Father loves.
That's right.
You cannot say Allah who art in heaven. You cannot have a relationship with Allah. You can have a relationship with the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
That's right.
The problem is, in Israel, for example, that the left, which is secular or communist, and they don't even believe in God, they don't even understand what I'm saying. And the rabbis say, well, we were closer to the Muslims in Spain in 1492, and the Christians were the enemy. Okay, the Catholics were the enemy. And today, even the Catholics have changed. Catholics are great people. A lot of Catholics have become Protestantized. So, by the way, I haven't spoken in many Catholic churches, but 5 churches I spoke in, they were born again Catholics. Exactly like evangelicals. Us.
Yeah.
My dream, my fantasy, is that America will be born again. All of America will be born again. And all of this in preparation for the Jews and their Christian spouses to come home. And the Messiah, I don't know who the Messiah is, forgive me, I don't know who the Messiah is. Jews are Jews because they don't know who the Messiah is. But I know that the Messiah is not coming or returning only for the Jews. If he's coming only for the Jews, he ain't the Messiah. He's coming for everyone.
That's right.
So I've got big problems back home with the rabbis. And I've tried to set up meetings with rabbis to talk to them. There are a few rabbis I know I could talk to, but I would say 99% and more of the rabbis have become so extreme. I call them the Taliban rabbis. And Israel is like the Titanic sinking with these Taliban rabbis. By the way, I also say the Messiah is not returning only for the Southern Baptists. You know, if you ain't Southern Baptist, you ain't saved. You know? What's the difference between Southern Baptists and Northern Baptists? Northern Baptists go to hell. That's a Texas joke. I get a lot of that.
Probably not remembering for the Baptists.
So things are very challenging. I wouldn't say things are bleak. Things are not bleak. Things are challenging. And we have to pick up the cudgels and fight. And so my job is to reach out to the Jews and the Christians and shed the light. so that they can understand. And by the way, it's my wife's fault. Because my wife, I hated Christians and I loved Muslims. And she said to me, not only are you crazy, you also don't know anything. That's what my wife said to me. 54 years that we're married, you're crazy and you don't know anything. And Rachel straightens me out and says, the Muslims are the pagans. I want to ask you a question. How many people here think you're Gentiles? If you think you're Gentiles, raise your hand. If you think you're a Gentile, okay. My wife asks me, our first meeting, why did you leave America? I said, because the Gentiles hate us. So, who are the Gentiles when I made Aliyah in 68? The Christians. Because in America, you're a Jew or you're a Gentile. And my wife said to me, you don't know anything. The Christians are the branches of the tree, and we're the roots of the tree. You destroy the branches, you destroy the roots. You destroy the roots, you destroy the branches.
Exactly.
So the Christians are not pagans. Gentile means the nations, pagans. If you believe in Jesus Christ, then you are grafted into Israel because Jesus was, this is the Jewish interpretation, Jesus was a rabbi.
That's right.
And he said, he who does not keep the least of the commandments is the least in my kingdom.
That's right.
So I get into a lot of trouble because they say, oh, Christians are horrible, Muslims were our friends 700 years in Spain. It's true. But things switched. Now the Muslims are the enemy and the Christians switched. And like I said before, the 100 million that I work with, those are the ones who love the Jews unconditionally. And I'm very lonely because there are very few people who say and think the things that I'm saying and thinking.
Well, you're in a good room with people that feel the same.
I think there's a reason every trip I make to the States, and our dear Jenny immediately invites me, and Robert Mawiri. And I was with Victoria Sarvadi on late Friday afternoon before Sabbath. And yesterday, do you know Lori Bond? You don't know Lori
I
Bond?
don't know Lori, but I know Victoria.
Yeah, Lori Bond, they have a renegade church in their house there. They call themselves the Renegades because they don't fit in any church, but they're very Zionist, very devout Christians. And they just find solace in meeting every Sunday in their house to have breakfast. And whenever I'm here, Aaron, Yaakov, my wife, we always go to.
Good.
And I've been doing for 3 years, every week, every Tuesday, I do a Zoom. Tomorrow morning, 7:30, I have a Zoom with Lori Bond's group in Fort Worth.
Can you tell people, I didn't do a sign-in. So I know you email me the day before the Zoom comes out to remind us.
Right.
How do these folks get on your email?
I do 3 Zooms a week. There's only one which is posted on YouTube's, and that's Lori Bond. So tomorrow night, if you look up YouTube's Avi Lipkin, you can watch the video taping of that Zoom. Every
Do
week
you
I
think
do
that's
two.
one of your better ones between the 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we join?
Okay. The Tuesday one, yes. Thursday is with Janice Sturkey. You know Janice Sturkey? She's in Hempstead, Texas, near.
Well, I know what we're gonna do. We will write these 3 Zoom addresses
We take pictures.
and take a picture on the way out. So, Avi, maybe we could do that promptly when you finish. 'Cause we
Now,
don't wanna
another thing, there's a very sweet Messianic lady in Israel, and as soon as I get back, we're going to do Zooms in English and Hebrew for the elections. So that will be in English. You can obviously, what?
Who?
Do you know her name is Bracha Kale?
Kale?
C-A-L-E. She's a Messianic Jewish lady. Her husband, I think, is an American Joe.
So, Avi, can I throw a couple pertinent questions out?
I think you're Jewish.
New York.
You know why? Because Jews always interrupt me. Christians
And they're pretty direct.
are well behaved and they sit and they listen.
So, but I kind of want everyone to leave knowing some of these highlights too, but I know that we're all concerned about New York City and having a Muslim mayor. Do you have any updates for us?
The only thing I can say is, as an historian, and all historians say this, history is like I have the Hebrew word, the English word would be a pendulum. Pendulum swings to the right and to the left, to the right and then to the left. I don't think Mamdani will last. I think the guy's nuts. But like I said before, Islam is not a religion. Islam is a psychosis. So they say he's a Muslim socialist. That's an oxymoron. Muslims cannot be socialists. Socialism is a Christian idea. Not Christian, anti-Christian idea from Europe. Mamdani is a Muslim. He's using socialism to seduce Jews and Christians in New York. So, I think that Mamdani, you know what, let me go back a little bit. I have somewhere in my internet, I saved it, but it was Khrushchev. Remember Khrushchev, the leader of Russia? In 1960, he was in the US. And he said, your children, pointing to the
that's what he
American people,
said.
your children and your children's children will be communist. And you will see America becoming a communist country. He's right. And this is something that was programmed in Moscow. You have to
The end of that was, and he said, we won't even have to fire a shot,
Yeah.
or something like that.
yeah.
So, they're just, they have a plan and they, changed our culture.
What happened was after the Bolshevik Revolution, many of these communist professors 100 years ago went to live in Germany. And the idea was to topple the Weimar Republic, not the Nazis, communists, and to create a communist state in Germany. And then Hitler, I'm not defending Hitler, but he killed all of them, except for a few who could escape, came to America. This is called the Frankfurt School and the Dresden School. And these German communists took over the universities and the newspapers, and we're looking at 100 years of communist infiltration in American colleges. Then came the Muslims. That was like the booster shot. And the Muslims are also anti-Christian. Communists are anti-Christian. That's why I'm saying there has to be a real Christian revival in America. Isn't that crazy?
We pray for it every day.
Isn't it crazy that a Jew has to tell you that?
No, we know.
Didn't you write a book on this?
My second book is called Christian Revival for Israel's
I
Survival.
remember reading it.
Right.
It's on the table. All 7 of my
Oh, good.
books are there.
Yeah.
God willing, when the 2 new books come out, you'll have me back and I'll come out with my 8th and 9th books. So I'm very excited. I mean, I almost died many times from heart attack and from army and traffic accidents, and I know that God can take me or anyone at any moment. So I just praise the Lord for every morning that I wake up and I'm alive.
Amen.
And that He keep my wife alive. By the way, had I married, I don't want to say an Ashkenazi woman, a woman from European background, I'd probably be dead by now. She'd probably just say, go take a can of tuna and that's your dinner. But Rachel makes sumptuous meals and she cooks and she's all the time cooking and cooking. It's like, she's addicted to cooking. And I got my pot belly from that.
Good.
And I'm alive because she takes care of me.
That's
And she's
right.
part Moroccan, so she has a knife in her hands.
Yeah.
And she points it at me and says, if you don't take care of your health, I'm gonna kill you."
Pretty good motivation.
She's very convincing.
Bobby, what's going on with Iran right now, and where are we going from here in the next, or in 2026, in the last 6 months?
Good question.
Okay, now first I have to tell you, I am not President of the United States. I am not in the upper echelons of the US government or the Israeli government. But I have a feeling that they're going to, by hook or by crook, that regime is going to fall.
Good.
It might take a month or 2 more. Many times when you watch the Israeli news, you pick up hints and you follow the hints. So for example, there was one top Israeli officer being interviewed on 14, because we watch 14,
Right.
the nationalist religious station, even though they hate the Christians. But they're still
Right.
better than 12, 11, 12, 13. Channels 11, 12, 13. And the commander of the Shaldag unit was being interviewed. And the interviewer asked him, so tell me, do we have secret forces in Iran? And he looked like this, and he didn't answer.
Of course
Of course we have our troops in Iran. And listen, the CIA used to have a unit which was training locals in certain countries to overthrow the regime.
Mm-hmm.
they do. Yeah, still do.
We have it too,
Mm-hmm.
and we work with the US.
Right.
And my wife is always complaining about the flip-flops of President Trump. I said, I don't care what anybody says. I still think he's synchronized with Netanyahu.
Me too.
And this whole business, Netanyahu's crazy, and he's this, and he's that, and cursing him and everything. It's all a show. And this 60-day memorandum of understanding is not going to last 60 days.
No.
So all I can say is the moment they signed the memorandum of understanding, I was on the first El Al plane out to come here. Because at least I think I have a month. And I'm here for a month, but I might have to extend it because of the book. The 2 books would be, it's also going to cost a lot more with all these things that they're adding on now.
Mm.
But those are going to be my 2 most important books in my life. And I cannot leave America till those books are printed and distributed.
And when do you expect that to be done?
Well, they said to me 7 days. But today, my graphic artist, who's a Christian, said to me, listen, you're doing the reading, the proofreading. I don't see any numbers on the pages. There are no numbers. And then he said, you know why there are no numbers? Because you did PDF, and this has to be given to a specialist who does the typing, and your pages are big.
Yeah.
The book pages are like half the size. So if you have 104 pages, he said to me, when it's ready to print, it'll be 160 pages because it's
Yeah.
smaller pages.
Yeah.
So this is going to take time. It's going to take maybe another week. And I'm supposed to be in West Texas next week. So I don't even know when I'm traveling. But if that really happens, I'm going to have to postpone my return to Israel by 1 week or 2 weeks until I have those books in my hands.
Can you tell us a little bit more about why you're so passionate about your life work of Turkey and Armageddon?
I have to tell you, how many people here heard of Chuck Missler?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So I used to be very close to Chuck Missler, and I have a lot of his teachings. Well, not on the table; they're in the car because they're the older teachings. but I always admired him. I always loved him. And by the way, people said to me he's a Nazi, but I was family with him and Nancy, his wife Nancy. And he said that the Armageddon is Russia. And I said to him, I don't think so, it's Islam. And then when the Soviet Union collapsed and there was no more Russia with 200 million Muslims, but 150 million Orthodox Christians, the Russians don't hate Israel. The Russians are Christian. So the Armageddon is Muslim. Now, I'm going to say something that I never said here. I'm going to say it now. You know, Turkey is a country that is a member of NATO.
Yes.
And they wanted to join the European Union. Don't forget, there's so many Turks in Germany working, and basically the whole German economy is based on Turkish labor. And the Turks also, psychologically, are very close to the Germans. Iranians also. They're very pro-German. And so today in Europe, for many reasons, you have about 50 million Muslims, and you have the 300 million Europeans. So you think to yourself, poo-poo, you know, nothing's gonna happen.
Avi, can you say that one more time, your figures? Yeah. In the European Union.
You
there
have
are-
300 million European, I wanna say whites, you know, and you have 50 million Islamic immigrants who've come in over the last 70 years.
Yeah,
And the economies of all these countries are dependent on the Islamic labor.
that's right.
Now, Turkey, Anatolia, is about 100 million. So 100 million, and I'm gonna get to why I'm saying this. 100 million and 50 million is 150 million. It's still less than 300 million. But the key are the six Islamic republics of the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, there are 200 million of them, and they're Turks. And Turkish law gives them, I see you know what I'm saying, so I'm watching your body language.
Yeah.
So 200 million
Wow.
Turkic Muslims in the 6 former Soviet republics, 100 million in Anatolia, and 50 million Muslims in Europe. So 350 million Muslims would immediately turn Europe into an Islamic continent.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I have to tell you, once I had a ride from Basel airport in Switzerland to my host in Basel, and my driver, good, devout Christian, started crying and crying while he was driving. I could see the tears coming down. I said, "Why are you crying?" He says, "You know, we aborted 50 million European babies,
Wow.
and God gave us a gift, 50 million Muslim babies in Europe." I like, and I have to tell you, my political party. Do you know Pastor Tony Sperandeo?
Of course, very well.
Well, he seems he likes me. He seems he likes the party.
Totally.
I said, we are against LGBT and we are against abortion.
Right.
He said, you have no idea. Nobody else is saying it. And they had this week they had an LGBT parade in Tel Aviv.
Yes.
But I think it was 3 or 4, before the war, before
Yes.
COVID, they had a LGBT parade. And the rabbis asked the rabbis, don't you oppose this? He said, they're not our community. Let them do whatever they want.
Wow.
That's what the rabbi said.
Ooh.
So we have a lot of sickness in Israel.
That's right.
A lot of very strange,
Yeah.
even among the ultra-Orthodox. And they don't serve in the army. We need every soldier. And then when we bring the girls to be soldiers, the ultra-Orthodox say, "Oh, we don't want to serve with the girls." You know, I have to tell you, I don't, it's also something I never said here before, Jenny. I was once the deacon of a conservative synagogue in Ramot. And don't forget, I went to seminary to become a rabbi, and they threw me out because I opposed LGBT and abortion. So they threw me out. Okay. But I was the deacon, and you know, the Orthodox, they don't let girls read Torah. Go up to the Torah. Only all women prayer groups can read Torah. But men and women, because the voice of a woman is lewdness. Have you heard that before? So anyway, we had a student rabbi, who was a good friend of mine, and we had a synagogue, and 70 families. You needed 70 families to pay the mortgage. If you don't pay the mortgage, they foreclose. And then the Orthodox buy the. We're not Orthodox; we're conservative. You have to remember, Reformed Jews and conservative Jews are an offshoot of the American Protestant Reformation. Same thing that happened with Christians happened with Jews. And that's one of the reasons why I think there should be Protestant Jews in Israel to balance off against the Islamic Jews and the Communist Jews. But anyway, so where was I going with this?
You were talking about the Armageddon
No, that's at the beginning.
You're talking about how many?
Then the synagogue.
Synagogue, yeah.
So we had 70 members, all paying dues, paying the bank, and then the student rabbi, who was my age, he remarried. He was divorced. He remarried and went to live in Savannah, Georgia. So we didn't have a student rabbi anymore, and the seminary didn't have a rabbi. The conservative movement in Israel is very poor. So I, as the deacon, de facto became the rabbi of the synagogue. But before I did my plan, we went down to 55 families, meaning we were not solvent. We could not pay the bank. And I came up with a plan. I took all of the cards. This is when we still use 3x5 cards. And I looked up all the boys and girls who had bar and bat mitzvah. And I knew which Sabbath they knew how to read the Torah. Isn't like they didn't have to go and prepare. And I called up boys and girls to get up and read the Torah. By the way, the girls sang more beautifully than the boys. And the parents came, because instead of kids having a bar mitzvah and throwing them into the street, no, you keep the boys and girls going to the synagogue and you mobilize them to read Torah. We went up to 110 families. We needed 70 to break even, 110 families. And then Rachel and I built a house in the desert. We left and went back to 55. I don't know, I mean, I think they're surviving, but the key is that we should not say women don't count. But the Orthodox in Israel say women don't count. And I believe in a quorum of boys and girls, in a quorum of men and women. I don't want to hear people say, well, women are unclean and we don't want to see them, we don't want to hear them. That's how it was in Athens 3,000 years ago. Athens, right? Athens, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle. Israel has to decide, are we going to be a nation using our full potential? Or are we, like the Muslims, going to say 50% of our potential goes down the drain because they're women? I'm very frustrated because I'm 77, I've lived through all these things in Israel, and I see Israel going down. Israel going down. We have to have 10 million immigrants coming from the US and the West. We have to have 10 million immigrants. We have to balance off the fanaticism of the ultra-Orthodox and the fanaticism of the atheists.
You know, Avi, I have such a heart to pray for the peace of Jerusalem and to pray for the Jewish people. I think as you bring kind of an update of where your viewpoint of where the country is, where it is in politics, where it is with women, where it is with families, where it is with Judaism, that it just does encourage me to pray all the more, to pray for the wholeness of the Jewish people, to love the Lord their God with all their heart and soul and mind and
Amen.
strength.
Shalom.
And we'll go to bat for you.
I do
In
have a
prayers.
question to
By
tag
the
on.
way, what did you
I
say?
have a question to tag on to what Jimmy was
Okay, well,
asking
I just
earlier.
wanted to say one thing, and never forget it. Israel is your Israel also.
Yes.
That's right.
So
And
we
the
pray
Messiah-
for and with.
The Messiah is coming or returning for all of
Yeah.
us.
All of
Yeah.
us.
Amen.
And we are the generation that's going to see this.
Amen. Yeah.
We are so close now, and my 9th book about Armageddon is going to bring about, I think, Messiah's kingdom.
Yeah.
Amen.
From the Nile to the Euphrates and from Lebanon to Yemen.
Amen.
And the Kurds will be our neighbors to the northeast. I think the Shiites will come out of their stupor and they will be allies of ours, and the Druze. And I don't know if have I spoken here about the Druze or not?
Not your allies.
You know, the Druze are descended from Jethro. And there are Druze in 4 countries, in Lebanon, Israel, Jordan, and Syria. Jordan, not so many. But the Druze are military people. They're soldiers.
Mhm.
And the Druze in the Israeli army
Yep.
are the best soldiers we have.
They are.
Yeah,
Loyal.
And in the 6-Day War, Israel sent its Druze officers up to the Golan Heights to meet with the Druze people in the Golan Heights, because they're Syrian, and said, the Israeli government is telling you to stay where you are, don't leave. No harm will befall you. And so the Druze remained in the Golan Heights, they didn't go.
Right.
But the Druze had a problem. They could not become Israeli citizens because they were all married and related to the top officers in the Syrian army. The Druze are loyal to the country in which they live. So the Syrian Jews are Syrian. The Israeli Druze are Israeli. Some became citizens, but the majority would not become Israeli because they felt Syria. Then you had the civil war in Syria, and the Syrian military, who was Druze, they were the leaders that killed off the Sunni Muslims. That's why you had so many millions of Sunni Muslims flee. And then, here comes the crazy part. It's God. God caused Pharaoh's heart to be stubborn. God caused Hezbollah in Lebanon, backed by Iran, to attack Israel. They've been shooting at us for 3 years. And when we defeated them, the Turks, who are our enemies, sent in Ahmed al-Shara, Julani, and the army of Bashar al-Assad collapsed. So who's the army of Bashar al-Assad? The Druze. So now they're coming to annihilate the Druze. No more Syria. All the Druze today want Israeli passports. The Druze, did I do it? Did you do it? God did it. And we're at the top of Mount Hermon, and we are heading towards eastern Syria, the city of Suwaida, and the mountain of the Druze. We're only like a 3-hour drive from the Kurds on the other side of the, we're very close to reaching the river, Euphrates.
That's right.
Right.
So,
Remember, she had a question.
yes, dear.
Okay. So
I have the last word. Yes, dear.
something you asked earlier about, so where we're gonna put, or somebody, where we're gonna put all of the Jews. Practically, we need to build houses. I know we have the land, and like you said, look at the map, but how's that, and when is that going to happen? Because practically, we need a place to stay for the 8 million.
You remember the
10
song in Spanish? Mañana, mañana, mañana is good enough for me.
Okay,
We don't know.
you don't know.
I'm writing a book now based on things that happened in the last 2-3 years. That we did not know that any of this was going to happen. And we had generals and we had top security people who adamantly refused to notify Netanyahu that night. 6 hours. Nobody warned Netanyahu. Nobody warned the commander of the Air Force. Because there was treason committed by these ultra-left people in the government. And, I'm a Sovietologist. I would have shot all of them.
Yeah.
The Bolsheviks just shoot everybody. So, justice takes time. But regarding building houses, I'm going to come now from the opposite direction. Do you remember Ariel Sharon?
I do.
Do you remember that Ariel Sharon expelled 10,000 Israeli settlers from
I
Gaza?
watched it on TV and cried in 2005. I was crying.
I did too.
watching it.
There are 2 reasons that nobody talks about why we pulled out of Gaza.
You said it again?
There are 2 reasons that Ariel Sharon pulled us out of Gaza. Number 1, we did not see the aliyah to Israel of American Jews that could have settled the land. We didn't have enough Jews.
Right.
Second thing is, I was in officer course in November 1993, and we were told in November 1993 that they were digging tunnels in Gaza, and they're gonna blow to hell any Israeli kibbutz or any Israeli military unit, because they build these tunnels, they put in half a ton of dynamite and blow the kingdom come. And unless we go in and wipe them all out, we can't defeat that. Now the left-wing people in Israel are saying, well, we can't defeat Hezbollah, and we're losing soldiers every day. It's true. But our towns in the north of Israel have quiet now. And every time, I don't want to use a rude word, anytime they fart, we clobber them. And you know what? Even a lot of the left-wing people in Israel support Netanyahu in this war. Because 4 times we were in Lebanon, 4 times we were in Gaza, 4 times we were in Sinai. And the world was always forcing us to withdraw. And in American history, you have something called manifest destiny, where the American colonists were moving west, and as they were attacked by the Native Americans, you know, we all love the Native Americans. They went through their own form of Holocaust. But the United States reached the Pacific Ocean. Russia had manifest destiny. They also reached the Pacific Ocean from the other direction. They conquered the Turks, they conquered the Eastern Europeans, they conquered the Chinese, they conquered the Koreans. Russians have their own form. So, let me assure you, when the day comes that we need houses, there will be houses. And what might happen, I'll do it in just a second. And I've been warning, we are going to have tent cities.
Yes.
Because so many are gonna come that we're gonna have to put them in tents, like in the 1950s.
Yeah.
But this is going to be the kingdom of the Messiah. We're gonna see the Messiah.
When you say that, how many years do you think it is?
Remember what I sang in Spanish? Mañana is good enough for me? Who knows? Yes.
Some years ago, I had many dreams about Israel, about an earthquake that is going to move even the river. It's going to even move, and Israel is going to be a much larger country. The Israel we know now.
Well, let me tell you, like I said before, I'm talking about 10 million immigrants. If we are, in the territories we have now, we can put 10 million immigrants. The question is, will more come? And the problem with more immigrants is that the Jews lose their majority status and it's not a Jewish state anymore. So about that, the rabbis are very strict. We are like a lifeboat. The Titanic goes down, you can only put a certain number of people in the lifeboats, not more.
May I ask a question,
Sure.
please? So how do you see the Russian-Ukrainian war aligning all these events happening right now in the world?
Are you Russian or Ukrainian?
I'm from Ukraine, and we represent...
I'm Ukrainian also.
Yeah, so we are part of the biggest Messianic movement based in Kiev, Ukraine. So we have 3 congregations in Israel as well.
I'd love to meet your people,
Yeah, thank you, sir. So
maybe one day.
we keep praying and still, wondering what is going on and where the war will end. And this is the
Okay,
question.
I'm going to say something very selfish. And every country is very selfish when it comes to their own interests. And I think in Ukraine we have 100,000 Jews and Messianics. In Russia there are 500,000. So we cannot go against Russia. Personally, I, my sister, my family, we are all pro-Ukraine.
Thank you.
And my grandfather fled from the Russian army during the Tsars. He was 12 years old. And they were going to take him into the Tsarist army. And my great-grandmother said, you go to Mariupol and go get on the first boat to Argentina. So my grandfather and his brother took the boat, and then they worked and they brought the whole family over. from Ukraine to Argentina. Also, my mother's side is not Ukrainian. My mother's side is from Warsaw. And my grandfather there served in Pilsudski's army against the Bolsheviks. So if you come to my house in Israel, you'll see the picture of my grandfather in Polish uniform.
Okay, it was very next time. Thank you so much. Yeah, because our president is a Jew, so there are a couple of ministers also are Jewish people. So, and actually, as a Messianic movement, as a Messianic Jews in Ukraine, we would say we are not persecuted like publicly, openly, but right now we experience some hatred. Yeah, it's very quiet, you know, among the people, like behind the tables in the kitchen room, right? So, but it's only beginning probably. So we know that many Russians, they fled Russia, and Ukrainians also fled Ukraine when war started, and they went to Israel. We have families who made it Aliyah, and they are now part of the Jewish Messianic movement and the congregations in Haifa, in Akko. So we still communicate with them, but yeah, it's quite.
I did a Zoom with this lady, Bracha Kale, and she brought a translator for Russian language from Akko, and she, Messianic woman, a beautiful woman. And I want to ask her to translate my book into Russian. I would say Ukrainian, but I think everybody speaks Russian. So
yeah, unfortunately, I would say unfortunately, because historically it happens, so we all speak Russian, and in our family we speak Russian, but we speak also Ukrainian.
Right.
So nowadays, when war started, since war started, many Ukrainians, they, especially young people, so they like trying to speak only Ukrainian language and not Russian. So they reject everything related to Russia and Russian people. But we still have relatives in Russia. We even have one of our Messianic congregation based in St. Petersburg. But unfortunately, the leader, one of the rabbis, has to move to Finland because of persecution in Russia. So yeah, we have all those stories of relatives who blaming us like Ukrainians, you are Nazis, but we have president Jewish, so it's impossible. So
I have to tell you, like I said before, I'm an historian, and you look at many countries and they have a very bad past, but today they're good. I spoke in Belgium, and there is a group there. You have the Walloons, who are French, and you have the Flemish, who are Dutch, but Catholic. And so I spoke to a group called the Flemish Bloc, and they were with the Nazis in World War II. Today they are very strong supporters of Israel. But the Israeli Soviet media says they were Nazis, they were Nazis, they were Nazis. So it's like Ukraine. And I think the whole world is maturing in different ways. The one country that is not maturing is Russia. Russia continues in the same Mongol autocratic behavior, dictatorship of 1,000 years.
yes.
The Russians cannot change. Ukraine wants to be like Europe.
Yes, the Russians, unfortunately, they're arrogant, you know, they just go straight with their...
By the way, I have to tell you a joke. Shutka. Very important joke for my political party. The joke is 4 men are asked the following question. Excuse me, sir, what is your opinion about the meat shortage? Meat shortage. So the American says, I don't understand the question. What is the shortage? Because Americans don't know what a shortage is. The Pole says, what is meat? Because there's no meat. Poland now has plenty of meat, you know. This is a joke from the Cold War. And the Russian says, I don't understand the question. What is an opinion? And the Israeli says, what is excuse me, sir? The That's a good joke for you.
That's cute.
Thank you.
I hope that you can have contact with me in the future, and we shall see what we do. As I said before, 400,000 believers in Israel speak Russian. But I can't go to the Russians and say, vote for my party. I've gone to a few groups. Do you know the groups in Israel?
Yeah, we have some groups.
So I'm trying to remember the name. Do you know Poshtar?
Yes, Israel Pastor.
He's in Ashdod.
Mhm.
So I went to meet with him,
Mhm.
and he wouldn't meet with me.
Oh.
He brought all of his second leaders.
Mhm.
They all met with me. We had very good chemistry, but Poshtar didn't. And then in Eilat, there's a good friend of his with a Messianic group, I think Ariel, I'm not sure if that's his name. So, you know, I didn't want to take the vaccination for COVID-19, but I wanted to go to Eilat to meet with Ariel. His daughter was working in Israel. She said, you can't come to Eilat, you cannot be in the hotel unless you have the vaccination. So I got the two vaccinations. But I went to Ariel. They made a videotape of my message, but I did not meet the group. The Russians or the Russian speakers are very, very afraid of the rabbis that they will be expelled from the country.
Yeah, this is something, you know, people who moved from Ukraine and Russia, you know, like, as well as now in the United States. So all the people who moved from Ukraine since war started, they on the temporary, some, you know, like immigration status and all the news and everything. It's very scary for people who has only temporary, so status. So it's not like uncertainty as well as in.
So it is a very, very big challenge for me to get the votes from the Russian speakers. And most of them are Ukrainian, but speak Russian. So like I said before, my book coming out now about the Bible block will be translated by this, hopefully this woman from Akko. And I will let you know when I do the Zooms in Hebrew, because she will be translating from Hebrew or from English into Russian. And so you can join our circle.
With pleasure, okay.
You know, Avi, I wonder if I should put a list at the, just a framework at the front door to get emails. And with this particular group, we could send the 3 Zooms, or we can write the 3 of them down. They can take a picture. How do we get to the 3 Zooms?
The only Zoom that will be open to you will be on Tuesday with Lori Bond tomorrow.
And tell us her name again,
Lori Bond, like James Bond.
Lori Bond, and so on Tuesdays, if we kept up with.
That's at 7:30 in the morning.
So then, how do we go to your emails?
I'm gonna put my business cards out, and it has my emails. People should write to me.
Okay. But then you can also go to Lori Bond and Avi Lipkin YouTube on Tuesdays. And it'll come
Tuesday
up.
night.
Tuesday night, so
So
it'll come up.
Tuesday morning, I do the live, and then my son posts that on the YouTubes.
So the Tuesday morning one is not live streamed.
Tuesday morning is live.
Is it live streamed on YouTube?
Yeah. No,
Avi
not live
Lipkin
streaming.
has a YouTube channel.
It's on the YouTube channel at night, but it's live for those who are allowed into the Zoom.
I see. Just your podcast.
Don't forget also that in a few weeks when I get home, sir, a few weeks when I get home, we will be doing new Zooms for the party, for the elections in Hebrew and in English and in Hebrew.
Okay. Very good.
Avi, I have some friends in leadership in Houston that are working on No Sharia Texas. Can you talk a little bit about Sharia law and Texas and what's happening in our great state of Texas with the Islamic movement?
Okay, you remember the lady who was here last time I was here? and she was saying that everybody in politics is bought out by Islam. Islam, they know every politician, and they pay money, and everybody is owned by the money from Islam.
Where does the money come from?
Islam.
What, Islam where?
There are Islamic organizations. You know, I have to tell you.
like CARE?
Yeah. I have to tell you,
Is
my
it
wife
oil
Rachel.
funded,
What?
oil funded Islamic?
It could be oil, or it could be just. Okay, let me start from the beginning. My wife Rachel, for 30 years, was a monitor, like intelligence gatherer for Israel, and she was picking up broadcasts of Islamic conferences in the Islamic countries, where they divided the world up. And every country was responsible for for part of the United States and other countries, and they would be funded by these governments in the Middle East to spread Islam and to buy out the political leadership. And America's asleep, so the politicians make their millions, and America's asleep.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't remember the name of the lady. I have it written in my phone. Her name. I have her name, but she was here. She spoke about it. She said everybody is bribed by the Muslims.
Well, Abbott got 1.5 million.
What?
Abbott got 1.5 million of Muslim money.
I hear the name. I hear the name Abbott all the time.
Our governor Abbott. I just got back from state convention and a week ago, and that was one of the big things that was talked about. And he got 1.5 million from the guy who is head of our Texas Medical Association, who's Muslim. That's how that came about. But that was one of the big topics at the state convention about Muslims and
Okay,
Sharia
now
and all that type of thing.
you know Ann Stacy, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Ann Stacy. First, we have to pray for her son because he's stage 4 colon cancer. So she's in Phoenix now in the hospital with her son. But Ann Stacy told me that there's a man and a woman. Her name is Marietta. His name is Greg Harrell. Harrell.
Yes,
Does anyone know the name? Greg Harrell?
I know her. Yes, they're in Granbury.
Granbury.
Yes.
So they are fighting the Muslim takeover of the schools. And Ann said maybe I should go and speak, but I have not been invited. So when I'm invited, I go. I'm not afraid. I'll go.
Okay. She usually will fix you up. I mean, easily with them.
If you know them and if you wish, call them and say, Avi mentioned your name, that Ann Stacy recommended.
Yeah. I talked to Ann today. I can call her. She's flying back in tomorrow.
From Phoenix.
From Phoenix, yes.
So,
I love Ann so much.
you were talking
She's
about the
serious.
American Holocaust. What form of Holocaust are we going to see happening in our streets, in our cities, to Jewish people and to Christians that are gonna create this?
It's not so much the Christians. Let me clarify. I was in Canada in the summer of 1999 in Edmonton. And I was told that the Islamic program, this is in my red book, by the way, they're going to catalog the Jews in Canada, every city. The Muslims of Edmonton will kill the Jews of Edmonton and certain Christians. The Muslims of Toronto will kill the Jews. The Vancouver Muslims will kill the Jews. And they said we have the same exact program for America. So if you have 30 million Muslims and they say we're going to kill 6 million Jews, it's not a big deal. And so the neo-Nazis, what happens? The Jews go with the Muslims. The Jews go with the socialists. And so the Holocaust, the secondary Holocaust will be with the neo-Nazis. And there will be such anarchy in this country that there will be nobody to defend the Jews. Listen, I'm an objective observer. I live in Israel. I'm waiting for my nation to come home. We need the Jews to come to Israel.
Yes.
That's my
Well,
thought.
October 7th
sure.
was just a dress rehearsal.
Huh?
October 7th, I've heard it was just a dress rehearsal for what will happen here.
October 7th in Israel will be the dress rehearsal for what's going to happen here.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
And you know what? The one group of people that don't want to hear what I'm saying are the Jews.
Of course.
Right.
The Jews will not hear a word I'm saying.
No. It's true.
You are the only people who listen to me. I feel kind of like the Apostle Paul.
Yeah, really.
It's just I didn't get blinded on the way to Damascus. Go on. Yes.
Do you know Chaim Mellispin?
Who?
Chaim Mellispin?
Chaim,
Chaim?
Chaim Mailspin.
male spin.
Yes, he's up in Tiberias. We're good
Yes,
friends.
and his father-in-law Dean died.
I don't know the father-in-law. I know Chaim.
Okay, so they, I'm good friends with them, and they are on several prayer calls I've been on, but he has the Aliyah Center, and he keeps talking about that they're having 5,000 to 7,000 a month that are coming through that Aliyah Center.
Right.
And that's just one of many Aliyah centers.
I'm happy that you mentioned that name because I do owe him a visit. I need to go up to Tiberias and meet him.
I wish I could go.
Amen.
Well, I know that Albert Wexler is also so involved in the Aliyah. We were just on a trip together in Saudi Arabia, and it's just so honest.
I know Albert Wexler also, and I want to say we're friends, but he's too much of a big shot.
And Jacob.
I'm low.
But it's
I'm
on his heart
under the
so
radar.
much.
Nobody knows what I'm doing yet,
Well,
except for
I
you.
do, and I'm so excited to hear about it.
Yeah.
It's great, and we all do. It's
Yeah.
what a pleasure and an
Absolutely.
honor
Thank
to hear what you're
So
doing.
Chaim says that they're building apartments all over the place there in Israel. For
There's a
all
lot of building going on.
Aliyah.
There's a lot
They've
of
been
building.
built too, a lot of skyscraper, but they're empty.
I'm saying all of a sudden, like snap of the fingers,
Yeah,
there are
they'll,
going to be millions of
Exactly.
people coming.
of course.
Careless.
And listen, I moved to Israel when there were only 3 million people. And it grew to 5, grew to 7, to 8. It's going to go to 18,
Yeah. What year did you?
68.
68.
It was
So you moved, what year? 68?
August
68.
August the 2nd, 1968.
And there were 1 million Jews there.
3 million.
3 million.
3.
And then what was the year that you said in the United States that there were 170,000 Muslims?
100,000 Muslims in 1970.
1970, and now we're 30 million.
30 million. And I can explain to you how that happened, but everything takes time, to
Yeah.
explain the different things.
Well, a lot of it is how many babies they have.
Yeah.
It's not just babies.
Yeah.
If,
What are the
if the
three
gatekeepers give visas, it's all legal. And Obama had a plane coming in every
Yeah.
day, bringing in. They wouldn't go through the terminal. The plane would go to the end of the runway, then buses would go up. I've got Christian lady friends in Joplin, Missouri, and mile marker 4, where all those gas stations are. Buses come up with Muslims from Mexico, take them all up to Minnesota, and
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
nobody knows about it. It's all opposition. No opposition.
Secret
It's been
invasion.
strategized. Well,
The plan is either you destroy America or you convert America to Islam.
Mm-hmm. There's no other choice.
Yeah. So the question is, do y'all go to sleep or do y'all get up and do something about it?
Do you think that Mamdani being elected in New York, do you think that God allowed that so that the Jews would make Aliyah?
Yes.
Because
Oh, yeah.
New York has the largest population.
Yes, and
That's what I
and
do too.
you've heard of the famous pastor who has passed since. Who's the pastor of the Times Square Church?
Oh, David Wilkerson.
David Wilkerson. He said the cities are going to go up in fire.
Right. He had those last day prophecies that he gave before he died.
All of these are reasons I moved to Israel, because I said this country is like Titanic, it's going down. Unless the Christians have a revival.
Yeah.
I mean, what's so exaggerated here?
Yeah. How do we pray for the elections in Israel that are coming up, besides praying for your party? How do we pray in regards to Netanyahu?
Pray that Netanyahu stays in power, because his work is not finished.
Yeah.
And there are some very, very evil people on the left, and he knows how to control the ultra-Orthodox also.
He did. And he's the only one saying we've got to finish the job.
Yeah.
What influence does Huckabee have with,
Huckabee's a great man. I love him.
what in Israel for the elections? What
Huckabee-
influence does he have?
I think the most important aspect of Huckabee is that the Israelis see a born-again Christian who loves Israel totally. And many people in Israel are beginning to say, these born-again Christians from America, they're not the enemy.
Yeah. That's good.
There's a change taking place. Yes, dear.
Right.
Did you want to say something?
No, I was just thinking Huckabee and the general feeling in Israel. And I think he's made a very, very good impression on a lot of the people, except the religious feel he's too evangelistic,
Yeah.
of course.
That has to change. Yes.
I know this is a brand new topic, and it's a very short question and a very long answer, but I would love to hear a short response from you about Abraham Accords and what you see coming down the pipe for that.
I have to tell you, I'm married to a woman who I love very much. She's very different than I am. Very different. She went through a Holocaust in Egypt. Her father was in jail for 2 years. And all their wealth was confiscated and they were kicked out of Egypt, penniless. And she would say things to me the first day we met. And she said, "You cannot believe a Muslim as far as you can throw a stone."
Right.
It's a good point.
And another thing, she went to school with Christian girls and Muslim girls, and the Muslim girls would say, "Oh, you're the Jew? You die on Saturday.
Yeah.
Your Christian girlfriends die on Sunday."
Yeah.
This is a civilizational war.
Yeah, it is.
And by the way, if America goes down, the whole world goes down. You know, like everybody says, "Oh, well, Israel is Israel, you know, we're okay with it, it doesn't bother us." No, it better bother you. Because Israel is the small Satan and America is the great Satan.
That's right.
I'm a little confused on the answer on Abrahamic Accords.
My point is that I support it.
Okay,
It's
but,
good
but
that-
what does it have to do with Rachel and leaving Egypt and, so Egypt
Because
is,
all of these Abraham Accords are false.
They won't, they don't,
So that,
it says you can't trust,
oh, you can't trust it.
so they
Okay.
can sign it, but that doesn't mean they're gonna do
Okay,
it.
so now you were
Go with
sharing,
that.
sharing
As
the,
long,
the
as
mistrust.
long as you can work with them, but don't be surprised if
Enter
they
line
stab you
in.
in the back.
Okay,
Right. Because they're Muslim.
Yes, because if their God is the great liar, then they are trained to lie. Jews and Christians are trained to tell the truth, Ten Commandments. Yeah,
Same thing with the MOU with Iran.
if they are liars, they're snakes, they will never change. That's why I'm saying when everyone attacks Trump, I don't attack Trump. Because no matter what Trump gives them, they're still gonna start a war with us.
I promise.
Yeah.
I think Trump, the problem with Trump is he's a good New York Jew.
He's a good Jew than some Jews.
And is a businessman, he knows about how to make the deal,
Deal maker.
deal maker, but he doesn't understand who Satan is. By the way, I know we're close to the end of the meeting, but I hate to use the word God spoke to me, but I have to write my 10th book. You know what my 10th book is?
Tell us.
The Final Battle.
Well, it's,
The Final Battle.
and why can't God speak to you?
Yes, that's right, that's so unusual.
In the book of Revelation, it says Jesus returns, he defeats the devil, and sends him to the pits of hell for 1,000 years.
Right.
That's going to be my book. The Final Battle, in which Islam is finally defeated, and that black stone is vaporized. The black stone can be vaporized without killing people. Just give them 24 hours notice, everyone should leave the area. And whoever wants to go against that will get vaporized too.
And the final battle is for Jerusalem.
For Jerusalem, but the black stone in Mecca is the home of Satan.
Right.
But Jeremiah 3:17 is Jerusalem's the throne of the Lord,
Amen.
right?
I just returned from Saudi Arabia, and you know there are footprints. Most of them have been stolen now, but it's thought that the Jews went around the whole area for those 40 years.
Did you see the
drew the footprints.
DVD of the footsteps that my son made
I didn't.
in Israel?
It's very special.
Yeah.
I'll have to see it.
You have to.
The footprints were in Saudi Arabia, in Jordan, and then in Israel, because that was
Yes.
their whole idea of pilgrimage, of going around in
And
circles.
Gibeah, yeah, you see them there too. So I've just come back from that land, and the Jews claimed it all. And so I believe that it's
Wonderful.
amazing to have come back and have just seen this and have taken a group there and have claimed that for the Jewish nation.
You know Jim and
for
Penny
sure.
Caldwell?
Mhm.
I'm very close to them.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Adam Schindler was on our group with us, and he was also good friends with them and wrote a book just recently. It's called Pharaoh, Curse of the Kings. Amazing book. But he also taught
who
part
wrote
of our
that?
group.
Who?
Adam Schindler.
Mm.
Schindler. Great book. Amazing scholar. He doesn't have a degree, but it doesn't matter. He's more brilliant. He's got more hours in it than I
She
do.
related to the Oscars and the ship.
Not different one.
Different.
SHIND.
Oh, Rosemary.
Anyway, I don't mean to hijack
Right,
the conversation.
right,
I'm just
like
saying
that
that
book
those
about the final
footprints there are
battle
just
in
amazing.
Right.
The
And
Black
it's
Stone
the,
is
you know,
destroyed and
It
Islam
is.
is
just
terminated.
claiming the
Basement.
Jewish.
Avi,
Yeah.
you have to get that book to Mel Gibson,
I love Mel Gibson.
so he can produce a movie about it.
I love Mel Gibson, if you're in touch
It'll
with
be one
him.
in his series, cause he's doing the next one he's doing, the Resurrection, and then he's gonna have another one after that, a sequel.
Are you in touch with him?
I know people who might be,
Okay.
movie producers.
Avi, did you read about a year ago, there was a small group of Orthodox Jews who went to the Arch of Titus in Rome and reversed the curse for Aliyah,
Yeah.
so that Aliyah would come, because, you know, there's a big Geula movement going on, and they went and they scratched out the emperor's image on an ancient coin. They took some piece from a Macarva tank, and they blew the silver trumpets, and they cried out to God to reverse the curse of the diaspora,
Yeah.
so that it would release in the spirit the Geula movement, and that they would come.
I didn't know about it, but thank you for telling me.
Oh, I haven't. I'll bring, if I can, I'll bring you an article. It was in the newspaper.
If not, I'll see you in Israel.
Next year in Jerusalem.
You wouldn't, yeah. Well, you won't keep me anywhere else but coming there. That's all. So,
Avi, one quick question. Can you explain, because this is probably we don't understand, maybe some don't,
what you,
the Islamist way of taqiyya or deception?
Taqiyya basically is their
You guys
God.
gotta hear this.
Taqiyya means lying, breaking every rule, every agreement that you make.
Yeah.
If Allah is the greatest of all the liars and deceivers, then the Muslims are supposed to emulate Allah,
mm,
and they have to be liars and deceivers.
Father of lies.
Father of lies. You see, for us Jews and Christians, thou shalt not bear false witness, meaning thou shalt not lie.
right,
So these are completely opposite values.
right.
So
Is there?
I go to, I've just joined a kind of an interfaith group. It's not my idea, I don't like it, but I believe God has told me to do it. And so there's Muslims, Muslim women, you're not allowed to argue and fight, and Christian women and Jewish women. So last week we went round the room and they had to say your name and what religion you were. I said, well, I'm actually Christian, but I'm actually 100% Jewish. And then these Muslim women had never heard of that, so then they would put up their hands and they went, I have to explain my whole life to them. So, you know that there are little pockets of, we're called Abraham's daughters.
Yes.
There are a lot of Muslims coming to the Lord today.
Oh, man.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
In Iran particularly.
Huh?
In Iran in particular,
The Lord's
particularly in
appearing to
Iran.
them.
Yeah.
He's appearing to them.
Visions.
I do have a question.
Yes.
Real-
Based on what Sharon's saying, what is happening within Iran, and are there needs? I mean, are people starving, dying?
Iran is a very interesting country because the original religion was Zoroastrianism. And and there's another one also, I don't remember the name, but the Zoroastrian religion is a pagan religion, but it was always very pro-Israel. Iranian people are pro-Israel.
That's right.
But the ones who became Muslim, they became devils. They became haters. From what I understand today, 30% of the Iranians are pro-Israel, 30% do not have any view, so that's 60%, and 30% are fanatic Ayatollah Muslims. So I think that's one of the reasons why Trump gave up on regime change. Because to have a regime change, you're going to have to kill 30, 40 million Muslims in a civil war. And Trump says it's not feasible. It's something the Iranian people are going to have to figure out by themselves. But I know, meanwhile, Israel is there giving weapons and getting ready for the showdown. There will be a showdown. It's a battle with the devil. What do? You ignore the devil, you fight the devil.
Well, they already had a civil war under Paul of the Shah when they took over our embassy. So that was a civil war too.
Well, the overthrow of the Shah is remarkable because the overthrow of the Shah was not an Islamic revolution. It was a revolution of communists, socialists, lawyers, students, and Ayatollah Khomeini said, I will, work with all of you, and then the moment they came to power, they killed everybody.
Right.
Because they were liars.
Right, their plan.
Yeah.
So Avi, can you let everyone know a little bit about your books, and then
Everything is on the table.
okay, it's on the table, and you're not selling CDs because we're not using them anymore, right?
I have CDs in the car. If people want CDs, I can bring CDs.
But it's good to know that you have a YouTube channel.
YouTube channel, and YouTube's roll free.
And the other thing I wanted to say is that I will put a list up the front with your name and email. So if we're able to do something for the 8th and 9th book, I can let you know. And then also, Avi travels, and he is a nonprofit, so.
No, I'm not a nonprofit. I pay taxes.
Oh, he pays taxes.
I'm an author, I'm a lecturer, and I'm running for office. If I declare a nonprofit organization, I go to jail.
So then if someone wants to donate to you, how does it work?
It's just giving money and relying on me.
Okay, so then I'll put something up at the front, so if someone.
If people are giving checks, make it out to Avi Lipkin, and I will deposit it in Chase Bank. If people do not have money with them now, I can give you deposit slips for Chase Bank with my name and my account number, and then when you're free, go to Chase Bank, make a deposit.
So then, are you gonna, before we all leave, are you gonna put business cards, deposit checks?
Right.
All that up there, or you know what, let's just put it right here at the table.
Yeah, at the table here.
And with the book table.
Right.
Okay, and then, I would love to, thank everyone for coming. And it seems like everyone got their questions asked, and I just appreciate Avi being in town and
I appreciate you inviting me.
making time to share your heart and mind and insights with us, and we just say thank you very much.
By the way, I can go through closed doors, but it's messier.
How much are the books and the DVDs?
Everything is 20.
Everything's 20.
Yeah.
And then we have a short announcement. Sharon is here from Israel and is speaking somewhere tomorrow. And
Tomorrow at Juanita's house.
Parthenia is hosting that. Would you share?
Okay, so tomorrow she speaks from 12 to 2, more or less, in the mid-cities, North Richland Hills, at Warner Early's place. And, but I do have something at my home on Thursday from 5 to 8. If anybody's interested, Sharon will be speaking there again.
I think I would probably do the same thing, is write
Just
something
write it
and let
down.
people
Okay.
take a picture of it as they exit.